this is the Sondors Metacycle. I'm sure a lot of you guys recognize it, but I'm also positive you haven't heard anything about this bike or the company in quite a while. And that's because they went bankrupt. The Metacycle ultimately failed, and a lot of people ended up losing a lot of money. So today let's revisit the Metacycle, see exactly what happened here, and how you can potentially identify and avoid these kinds of situations in the future. Because I can guarantee you, Sondors will not be the last company to ever announce an exciting product and then fail to deliver, leaving a lot of people very unhappy. But okay, the Metacycle, some background. This was the first street legal electric motorcycle from Sondors as a company. Prior to this, they only sold electric bikes, so this was something new for them. They originally announced this in 2021, and it had a very eye-catching design, futuristic, minimal, with solid performance numbers. So they said it was capable of hitting 80 miles per hour, about 60 miles of range, and it had a very compelling price of just $5,000. And it turns out there's quite a bit of demand for a street legal, cool looking $5,000 electric motorcycle. But turning this concept into a physical product is very challenging. So to give you guys a visual here, usually a company identifies some kind of opportunity, they come up with a product idea, in this case, the Metacycle. And to turn that into reality, they have to go to creditors and get money to fund this idea. That itself can be very challenging, but once they eventually get the capital, they can then invest this money to hopefully try and produce a final end product. Then, if they are successful, this end product can go to the consumer pays the company can pay back creditors, make a profit. But the thing is, most products end up failing and never reach the end consumer. There's a bunch of things that could go wrong, and creditors are fully aware of that. They view this capital as an investment, and whether or not it pays off is all part of the calculation. Now, sometimes to help raise some extra capital, companies do something that's legal, but kind of shady in my opinion, and that's they turn some consumers into unwilling creditors. And I'm sure you guys have all seen this before. It comes in the form of pre-order deposits. So often a company would announce a new product and begin accepting pre-order deposits, and they use these deposits to help fund the development of the product in question. So ultimately, these deposits are an interest-free loan you are giving to the company to help them develop a product. Now, ideally, the company is stable, already in the late stages of development, and everything works out fine. But this is often not the case, and it's what happened with Sondors. So they used the original announcement of the Metacycle to help raise money to develop the Metacycle with those pre-order deposits. Almost immediately, they ran into difficulties. The product was delayed over a year, and when it finally emerged, it was different from what was originally announced. But they did ultimately manage to produce about 1,000 of these modified, slightly compromised units before running out of money and suspending deliveries. If you go on various forums, you can see many accounts of people that placed deposits and never received a unit or a refund. And now the company is in bankruptcy, and these people are treated as unsecured creditors because, again, they gave an unsecured, non-interest-bearing loan to this company. And thus, it is unlikely they will receive a refund because essentially they invested in a product that failed. But okay, how can you spot and avoid being in this situation in the future? So because of this, I almost never place deposits to reserve products in advance. Rather, I would wait until the product actually exists and then buy it directly. I would only make exceptions here if the company behind the product is large, profitable, and trustworthy. For example, Apple, they recently announced their Vision Pro headset, and they accepted pre-orders. And I'll tell you this is fine because here, Apple is one of the most reputable companies in the entire world, and they have a couple things working in their favor. So one, they have experience bringing similar products to market. Apple is a very profitable company. The existence of the company isn't dependent on success of the Vision Pro. And very importantly, Apple has been developing the Vision Pro headset for years before announcing it. By the time they did the announcement, it was in the very late stages of the development process, already being mass produced. Even if the product failed in the end stages and it never ended up shipping to customers, Apple as a company is very financially solvent. They didn't use the deposits to fund the development of the headset, and refunds would have been essentially guaranteed. Now, smaller companies in particular often need to raise money to develop great products, but instead of disguising it as a pre-order, I think they should run Kickstarter campaigns. This is something a lot of people are familiar with. People can choose to help fund the development of projects they are interested in and be first in line to get a product if it succeeds. But the transaction here it's very clear. There's no guarantee of success. I think even Tesla should have done this with the Cybertruck. Tesla did eventually succeed in bringing the Cybertruck to market, but I'm sure you guys know it was delayed by several years and it did not live up to many of the original claims, including the price tag. It was supposed to be just $40,000. So when it comes to smaller, less established companies in a new field like electric bikes, electric motorcycles, I just personally do not place pre-orders. You don't know the current stage of development the product is in and how solvent the company is or isn't. I would play it safe and wait to see if the product eventually becomes reality, or if I wanted to support what a company is doing, I could do it on a platform like Kickstarter. So that's just something to keep in mind. This whole pre-order thing, it's very common, but it can lead in some cases to very unfortunate outcomes. So just be aware that you're essentially giving the company a loan when you're doing this, and lots of things can affect the final outcome. If you guys enjoyed, I appreciate a like before you go, and I'll see you guys in the next one.